What is going on, guys? Let's start right here, back at you with more FX3 information. Today I'm going to be showing you pictures of the menu, and we're going to be talking about the handle because a lot of you guys want to know if the handle is going to have some sort of control. So sit tight, all that information after the intro. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Let's start right here and let's talk about the Sony FX3 because today I'll be revealing some of the screenshots that my source has been sending me about the screen of the FX3. We're also going to talk about that mode button that we talked about in the first video, which is on the back of the camera on the left-hand side, and we're going to talk about the handle. So let's actually start talking about the handle because you guys want to know if there's going to be some sort of control like the FX9. And no, the handle is not going to have any type of control. For what I understand, it's pretty much a bare bone, and there is going to be another hot shoe mount there to install the XLR module. Now he's telling me that the handle is going to have also additional a couple of quarter thread mounts, I guess, to mount some other accessories or, whatever have you. Now, let's talk about that mode button that is in the back, right? Because a lot of people also wonder, what does it mean? Now remember, this one is going to be a still camera as well. So the mode button, simply what it does, I'm actually looking at the picture, it's gonna cycle through all the modes, such as, aperture priority, shutter priority, movie, S&Q, MR1 and MR2. You can see the image right now. So this is actually, pretty much like we have in all Sony cameras, including APS-C. Nothing new in here. Now, when it comes to the menus, also a lot of you guys have been wondering if the menus are gonna be like the FX6 or the FX9, which are kind of like completely different from the mirrorless still cameras, but these menus are gonna be identical as the menu of the Sony A7S3, and you can see an image right now. So pretty much identical, the same menu. And remember that in the past, one of the past videos, I mentioned that this camera is also gonna be identical when it comes to features. So yes, Sony pretty much reboxed the Sony A7S3 and gave us this much more squarey form factor of the camera without the EVF. Now remember that I've been saying that this camera seems to be designed with the intention to be kind of like the perfect companion for AirPeak. And I'm also going to be showing some images of the AirPeak so you see how cameras are going to be mounted. And by looking at this camera, it makes a lot of sense to kind of like think of a camera of this form factor for the drone. So, a lot of people are saying that, this camera was designed as a crash cam. Yes, that could also be it. But this one is going to be a camera that, in my opinion, is going to be introduced, along with the AirPeak. Makes a lot of sense for Sony. It makes a lot of sense to think of a camera with this, ergonomics, with this design. And once again, take a look at this image right here. See how a Sony A7S3 looks in this body, and kind of like think how a Sony FX3 would look in this drone. Now, the other piece of information that I got from my source is telling me that where he lives, the camera is more expensive than the Sony A7S3. Now, he is not from the United States, for the record, so that could actually mean something completely different here for the United States. But, if this camera is going to be more expensive than the Sony A7S3, what else are we getting, in this camera that the Sony A7S3 doesn't have? Because if you think about it, a more expensive Sony A7S3 without the EVF, it's kind of like a downgrade for a lot of people, unless you're willing to buy the AirPeak or unless, you don't care and you just want a gimbal camera. However, less, in my opinion, should actually come also in less price because the camera is going to be exactly the same, guys. And, one of the things that is giving me some hopes that this camera is going to be more capable of something else is the fact that the camera has fans. And what I'm thinking that's gonna happen is that we may see a firmware update to add raw internal recording in this camera and also in the FX6 because those cameras have the match faster CF Express Type A. But because the Sony A7S3 doesn't have a fan, probably Sony could opt for that feature not to, to come to the Sony A7S3 and leave it only to this camera. And also probably an indication of why this camera is classified as a cinema camera because if you actually take everything that I just told you today, yes, I'm a little bit frustrated because I definitely need to know the price of this camera. In my opinion, this camera, if it's a little bit more expensive, it's gonna go for around $4,000, $4,500, but in reality, as of right now, for everything I know, this camera should actually be less, around $3,000 or $3,200. So I don't know which direction Sony is going to take, we're gonna have to wait. But once again, subscribe to this channel because I'll be bringing you more information as the information becomes available. And until then, I will see you in the next video.